So welcome back to the Expert Edge. I'm stoked to have you here today. Today we're going to be talking all the latest insights, strategies for starting and scaling up your Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and we go deep. We go deep today. But before we get into it, I wonder, have you built out a really powerful sales mechanism with your sales pages, your emails, your SMSs, all the things? Because I know for me, I've tried so many platforms. And several years ago, I got connected with an incredible funnel builder. That's basically someone who builds out the technical side of funnels. Her name's Michelle Fernandez. And she's built our most profitable funnels, like funnels that have literally generated millions of dollars for us. She recently launched her own funnel building software that's connected with a very large funnel building software. So basically, she has built her own platform within their platform, if that makes sense. It's called Optima Funnels. And the reason why I wanted to bring this to you is because I feel like from a funnel building perspective, from everything you want to do, from emails to sales pages to funnels to products to memberships, like SMS, like everything you want to do is within Optima Funnels. And I have an incredible relationship with Michelle. She is the real deal when it comes to building high converting funnels and sales pages, all that sort of stuff. So if you are not too deep into your current platform, or you're looking for a better solution that at the moment is at a price, by the way, that is like half the price of everything else out on the market, it's unbelievable, the price. When I shared it with some of my students recently, they were like, this is like the deal of the century. When I shared it with my students, like literally 50% of the people took up the offer. Like it was that incredible. So if you want to go and check that out, you can go to colinboyd.co/Optima. I'll put a link in the show notes. And her stuff is just phenomenal. And like I said, she's been building our funnels for ages. Her platform has launched recently, and I wanted to share it with you because I think that it's an incredible solution. And so go and check that out, colinboyd.co/Optima, and you can go and check that out. That'll get you set up with everything you need in terms of sales funnels, every technical element that you need from checkouts, products, sales funnels, everything in the expert space is in there. So let's get into today's episode. We're going to be chatting with Tara Zerker. She's become a really good friend of mine. She's a phenomenal Facebook ads expert. And we go deep into latest trends, latest copy, creative, AI with Facebook ads, and really just even how to just get started with Facebook ads. So if you haven't tested how to actually make money through Facebook ads with your courses and your products, you're going to love today. We have a fantastic conversation all about the latest trends, what's happening, things you can try, and make sure you hang around to the end because we give you some really tactical, brass knuckles tactical advice about things you can do in your Facebook ads to actually make them even more profitable. So let's get in to talking about profitable Facebook ads with Tara. Hey, it's Colin, and you are listening to the Expert Edge podcast. I was a professional speaker for over a decade, and now I focus on helping coaches, speakers, and course creators to speak and sell on virtual and live stages. The Expert Edge podcast is weekly content focused on helping you build your expert business. We cover marketing, storytelling, sales, communication skills, and so much more. Thanks for taking the time to tune in, and make sure you subscribe and follow us on all our social channels so you don't miss a thing. Let's listen to today's episode. Tara Zerker, welcome to the Expert Edge.
Hello, so happy to be here.
Hey, I'm super excited to share you with my audience. You are amazing. First of all, you're an incredible thinker and an incredible person. I've got to hang out with you in person a few times, and I always walk away and I'm like, gosh, Tara is such a good person.
Oh, thank
And so
you.
I just want to acknowledge that in you right up front. One of my intentions in the Expert Edge is to bring the market leaders in this industry and share them with my audience. And not just market leaders, but people who are actually good people. Because I think this industry can sometimes get a bad name for itself because of sometimes the way people are treated and stuff. But I just feel like you are the real deal. So welcome to the Expert Edge.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here.
So good. Now, quick top line. Let's talk about kind of who you are, who you serve, and then we're going to get deep into this topic.
I love it. Okay. Well, my name is Tara Zerker, Facebook and Instagram ads expert. And how I kind of got started in this world was I saw the power of advertising on a few clients I was working with, and actually was doing pretty well with a couple of accounts. Meta reached out and said, "How are you doing so well with these accounts? You're outperforming your competitors." And I realized there was a system there. And then eventually I developed for better or worse, a specialty in rehabbing expensive and problematic accounts. And so that always gives you a challenge when every single client you have is like, okay, here's the biggest problem in my business and your job is to fix it. And so that's how I kind of got my start. And then eventually we started training small business owners, course creators, coaches, consultants, things like that.
So it's almost like the makeover show for Facebook ads. Maybe we can get that on one of the networks soon.
I love it. I don't know how exciting that would be, but it's exciting behind the scenes. That's for sure.
I think it's exciting because for me, ads are so important. Ads have completely changed the trajectory of my success, my business. I feel like I waited quite a long time to get into ads. I'd been running my expert business for about 7 years before I ever launched an ad. Now, I will say that this was pre-online courses. So this was before even that was even a thing, right? And so when online courses came in, and then I started to learn how to do online presentations and webinars and starting to launch them. And it's just completely changed my life. But I'd love to know from your thoughts, what makes up a great Facebook ad? Like just some core elements of a great Facebook ad first, and then we're going to dive into trends and all that sort of good stuff.
Well, right now, I would say the top performing ads are leading with top performing creative. And so if you're thinking about ads, I mean, there's a few things you have to have on the back end. You need a great landing page. You need, if you're thinking about nurture funnel, right? A sales funnel for a coach or a course creator or something like that. You need a great lead magnet. You need a great training, something that's going to truly attract people. And then from there, you need, great email nurture sequence, things like that. Yes. So you need great content on the back end. That's first and foremost, the number one thing that you have to have. Mm-hmm. From there, it becomes very simple. You need to set up a little bit of ad tech called your Facebook Pixel. You need some great ad copy. Hello, ChatGPT. And then you need creative. And that is the piece right now that I would say is the most art and science of meta ads. And that is where everyone's success is. And then beyond that, I mean, it's knowing which buttons to push and pushing the right buttons. And that actually, make it sound easy, but it really is important to know because, so many people will come to us and say, I've just wasted thousands of dollars, so much time. I have followed the YouTube tutorials. They've done the things that they think are the right things, but it's not the right strategy for their industry, their niche, and their funnel type. And so pushing the right buttons is it actually does make up a lot of the success. But if you push the right buttons, then you are going to see just how powerful these things are. And the cool thing is, Colin, not to geek out here, but you're going to see it very quickly. Like you're going to get data within the first few minutes of your ads being live. You're going to get leads coming in likely in the first day. I mean, it's very cool, very fast.
Yeah. Now, I feel like for a lot of people, they feel like Facebook ads is like the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the mythical dragon from the sense of they know that it's out there, but they don't know how to find it or how to crack the code. That's how I felt.
That's so
I know
good.
For me, when I first started, I remember the first time I ran a webinar with ads, I think I spent like $3,000 and I was freaking out so much. I am literally going to be homeless after this. I'm going to lose all my money. Like I'm completely freaking out.
Yeah.
And I spent it and I think I kind of broke even the first time, which I was happy with. I was pretty happy with. Now we're very profitable with Facebook ads, but talk to us about if someone's kind of just starting out, let's say they've got a product, they've got, let's say $1,000 course or a $2,000 coaching program or something like that. And maybe they've launched it once and they've sold it, like they've tested it a little bit. When do you think ads is a good time to start and how much should they be spending when they first start?
Oh, such a juicy question. Okay. I have literally talked to every big name I can talk to about this in the industry. And I have said, when would you have started ads? In fact, Colin, when do you wish you had started ads? Just
Oh,
like throwing that out there.
a lot earlier.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, the most frequent thing that I hear is like day one, like instantly start building that list, because imagine if you could be list building. And that's, by the way, a really, really good place to start is start building that email list. And you can do that through free training. Absolutely. And you're, ideally going to start seeing some sales data come through that will help you improve your stats, your sales funnel stats. But also you could be building a list. I will tell you, like, some people will say, those ebooks or PDF downloads, like those don't build quality leads. They do. You have to do it right. But I will tell you what builds even more quality leads is checklists, tools, formulas, things that people like. If I have like a checklist, that is such a valuable thing. And so, yes, you can do ebooks. Yes, you can do free guides and things like that. But the more you can think about like what's going to get people a result in like 5 minutes or less, the quicker you're going to see success in your list building efforts. So things like that are really juicy, really hot, right?
So not just going to a webinar or a presentation, like actually going like a checklist or a PDF.
If you're doing list building, if you're getting people into a sales funnel, absolutely. I mean, direct to that webinar, video sales letter, whatever it is, whatever your sales funnel is, absolutely. But if you're just getting started, you're a little bit nervous, I would say you want to start with $10 a day is a great starting point. That's $300 per month. And that fits almost everybody's marketing budget. Even if you are shoestring, even if you are just getting started, I feel like most people can find that in their business budget and get started. And if you're directing that towards list building, which, by the way, you can list build through a webinar, but you can also
100%.
list build through, there's lots of ways to do it, right? And I would say the two most common in our industry in particular would be a webinar. And if that feels intimidating to get started, then you could start with, again, kind of that more like easier to create checklist, download, guide. And again, if you can make it more of a tool, that's going to be even better for your quality of lead.
I feel like, as a business owner, you want to make money, but I do feel like there's something about just dipping your feet in the water and getting used to spending money and getting used to running ads, and not even worrying about making money at the start, that really sets you up for success. Because I did have a few launches where we kind of didn't really make much money, or maybe a little bit of a loss, especially right at the start. But now, we'll come into a promotion and I will look at the launch and be like, let's put $90,000 on the credit card in the next 9 days. And I know it's going to bring in 500 grand. And it's like, because I've built the sales mechanism that actually works, but it truly is just phenomenal. In fact, there was a student in one of our programs in our Sell From Stage Elite, our coaching program, and she hadn't really ran ads before. And she just recently ran ads to a webinar, and she normally got about 200 leads, and she would make like 20 grand or like 15 grand. So she was doing pretty well. She spent like $4,000. She got close to 2,000 leads and made like 80,000 US dollars.
That's awesome.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is just incredible. And so I want everyone listening to know the power of ads is just phenomenal. And so talk to me about creative. You mentioned, we started to touch on creative, but what does creative actually mean?
Okay. Creative is the visual component of your ad. So if you're thinking about a Facebook ad, you see the copy on top of the image. Well, you see the copy that's above the image, I should say.
Is that the headline above the image?
The headline on Facebook is the words right below the image.
Yes, right below.
Yep.
Yes.
And on Instagram, it is the visual, and then there's no headline. It's just right into the copy.
Right.
And so if you're kind of just thinking through the anatomy of an ad, that's kind of what it looks like. Yes. And so that visual component, the middle component, is what catches the eye. Now you have got to move fast. Okay. This is crazy, but Meta tells us that the way that people scroll, especially on mobile, number one, it's 4 times faster than we scroll on desktop. And 80% of people access Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, the whole family suite of apps, right? They access it through mobile. And so you need to know these things because this is very important. Do you know, Colin, that we are scrolling the length of the Statue of Liberty on average every single day, every single one of us? Is that insane?
That's insane.
That's insane. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's just your average user. I know some of us are, power users. Like that is nuts. Okay. So as an advertiser, you're going to use this to your advantage. You've got to stop that scroll, pattern interrupt, and you got to do it fast because the visual is what's going to get people to read the ad. And that's what ultimately you want people to do. Now, I have a few personal philosophies on this. I think ads should be doing 60 to 80% of the selling at the ad level. So that's not to say that everything else that comes after the ad is not important. No way. Like somebody's not going to read your ad and go buy your huge, $1,000, $2,000 product.
Like right off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not. You got to nurture that, but you want that initial yes in their head to be rolling. You want the ads to make them think, hey, this is actually something that I need. This is actually a solution to a major pain point. And now I'm going to go through that sales process. And all I need to do is check the boxes and confirm that this is literally what I think it is.
Yes.
And so you need that ad to be doing a lot of the converting and getting people to the next step, but making sure that it's a yes, not like I'll just kind of, this could be interesting. I'll check it out and see, because that's never going to lead to the right intent to get those conversion rates where we want them. Okay. So that's my personal opinion on what an ad needs to be doing. That also, by the way, steps up the standard tremendously of most advertising on Meta or any channel actually, because most ads are total junk. I mean, you probably see them every day and you're just rolling your eyes like, this was never going to get me to convert. I mean, I was never going to click on this. I was never going to be interested in this ad. It didn't build any initial trust. All right. So going back to that visual, that's your so you've got your copy creative and then you've got your visual creative.
Yes. What's more important, copy or creative first? Like if you're doing a split test, what do you split test first?
Creative is I would say
visual?
Your visual component right now is your most important because you got to stop the scroll. You got to get people to read the copy. And the only way you're going to do that is if the visual is that good. So you're thinking about hooks. You're thinking about making sure it's eye catching, pattern disrupting, things like that. But here's another thing that catches people off guard. They think everything is video. And I do agree. Everything is moving towards video. Video is very important. You do not want to neglect this in your business model. But about 60% or more, depending on which niche you're in, of conversions are still coming in off of static ads. And this is very industry niche dependent. In certain industries or niches, I'll see it's much higher and others I'll see it's much lower. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, Colin.
What are you noticing because most of our listeners, they're not selling physical products. They're not in e-com or anything like that. They're selling an online course. They're selling coaching services. What are you noticing with some of your clients that's kind of working in this industry at the moment?
Yeah. Okay. So like I said, you still want to be balancing your ad creative, meaning your visual components, with imagery, like static imagery and videos. The mistake that I'm seeing is everybody just turns straight to videos. And it's like, oh no, you got to still have that static. Do you use only video, Colin, or do you guys have a mix?
We use both.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is sometimes for certain weeks, the static will convert better and sometimes the video will convert better. But we're usually always running at least 5 different kind of creatives at a time. To different audiences. If we're doing a big promotion, I mean, Tara, I had one time recently when we were doing a big launch, we ran out of ad sets. So Meta said, you cannot launch any more ads. It was like 500 ads were running at the same time. I want to share that because sometimes people don't realize the volume. If you want to go bigger, like if you want to do a $500,000, multi-day event or a $500,000 webinar or something, it's like the scale, Alex Hormozy talks about this a lot. I think it was like the first time he did a letter drop and he delivered like 300 letters, and he said to his mentor, "Oh, it's not really working." And he goes, 5,000 is like my beta test to see.
Yes.
And so as much as that's why I think it's so important to get used to spending a little bit and to just get used to it, because you're never going to get to that big level if you don't get used to it.
Also, another thing that you want to consider with that is you want to season your account. Like you need to season your pixel, right? So kind of echoing what you're saying there and giving even more behind the scenes is if you think you're just going to suddenly run a $5,000 or $10,000 budget and you never run ads before, you can do it. You are not going to have the most optimal conversion as you would have if you had been running a small budget and warming up your ad account. And there's lots of reasons behind that. Number one, usually when you are just starting a brand new ad account, Facebook will put a governor on your ad account, so you can't even spend sometimes more than $50 a day for the first few months. Number two, the whole reason why Facebook ads are amazing is because there is an algorithm that is so intense and so intelligent that it knows there's no way to outgame it at this point. It knows so much more about your ideal client or customer than you will ever figure out in the lifetime of your business within 10 minutes. Can we talk
to that?
Yes.
Because I think old school was very much like, let's kind of like target stuff and build audiences. And it was like, let's not trust Facebook at all.
Yes.
Kind of thing, Where are we up to at the moment? It might be some still targeting. I'm not sure, but I'd love to know from you because I don't run my personal ads. So I'd love to know from you, like, what's the landscape at the moment?
Okay. So it used to be that ads managers, they prove their value through targeting, finding high intent, ideal audiences, right? And there is still plenty of that. And I would say, especially in the coaching space, there's course creator space, plenty of targeting to do. But the algorithm, okay, so this will shock people. Our ideal client is a business owner who's spending less than $5,000 a month, wants to get started with ads. We certainly have people more advanced than that. But for the most part, that's kind of the entry point where people start with us.
Yes.
And we used to do all of these audience interest targeting. Those still work for us. They're still great. Our top performing audience by far is a broad audience, absolutely no interest targeting. It is, okay, Facebook, it is a man or woman, ages 35 to 50. Well, sometimes 30 to 50, somewhere in there. And go for it. And people go for it. I mean, we're a niche within a niche. Like in the online space, we are like a niche within a niche within a niche, right? We're teaching people ads, not like the first skill that you're going to learn in your online business career. Probably like the fifth or sixth skill or something like that.
Yeah.
And Facebook does an incredible job. It's one of our top performing audiences. So it used to be you could really outsmart the system and you could do all these little tricks and things like that. And now, I mean, if you are looking for people in wellness, relationships, dieting, like parenting, whatever the thing is, like Facebook will find it without you having to do too much, which is pretty incredible.
One thing that we did recently was we kind of switched to a global, just allowed Facebook to run it. We did find that we had to turn off some countries because it started to kind of lean towards countries that are like, I won't share the countries, but they're not our target audience. And we were getting thousands of leads like a day. And I was like, something's wrong here, something's off. And then since we've turned off some of those other countries that we're just not focused on, it's running really well.
That's so good. And actually, I'll speak to that too really quick, because when you are starting with ads, okay, so Colin, I feel like you're at the point where broader experimentation is the name of the game for you, and like taking those bigger swings. And when you're starting, I would always say, do your targeting by country. People do like all of North America, all of Europe. And it's like, yeah, exactly. And so you want to really focus country by country. And in, media buying language, we always say the big five or the big six, depending if you count Ireland or not. So you go US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, And then
Yeah.
some people do Big Six and do Ireland as well. So those are, if you're going to make a group of
I think
countries,
that's great advice.
yeah, start there. And then you get to Colin's level, right? Colin, like very advanced level, very profitable with his ads. And now you start making bigger swings, bigger bet. I mean, your level is super fun. As a media buyer, I bet your team is just having a ball because you get to do a lot of cool stuff.
I just let our team just do whatever they want. Like they're
Yes.
just kind of testing and trying stuff and throwing new creative in and doing weird ads and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. Now, I will share, because I want to back up what you're saying and kind of share our journey a little bit behind the scenes as well, is I mentioned that when I first started, I used to do it kind of, I would just spend for a promotion. So I would just spend for a webinar, and then I basically wouldn't spend for like 3 or 4 months. And then I'd just spend for a promotion. And that was okay. We transitioned about 2 years ago to just like a full kind of like continuity evergreen process. So we now have a lower ticket product, the Conversion Story Formula. We launched that about around 2 years ago or so, because that's just running every single day and it's finding out the right target audience. We had last year we had 7,500 people buy that.
Wow.
80% of that was from ads, I would say.
Wow.
But this is the crazy bit, Tara, is when we're running bigger promotions now, previous to me running continual ads, we were spending about $20 to $22 per registration for a webinar. So if I'm doing a video series or a webinar, we're paying about anywhere between $18 to $22. Now we are paying $7 to $8. Literally, it's less than half the price, because that whole idea of like Facebook knows who our target audience is just, it's so true. Sometimes people talk about, like you mentioned, kind of marinating and teaching the pixel. And I used to think that was just like a myth. It's not. Like, it really works.
Okay, can I translate that for people? Like, insane amounts of profitability live in the statement that Colin just made. Like, insane amounts of profitability. Like, I'm imagining, Colin, that just that right there probably did something like amazing to your bottom line. Your P&L probably looked like night and day.
The profitability completely flipped. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we were always very profitable, but it literally added another 15% in profit to the business.
Easily. Yeah. I mean, that is so awesome. I am so happy for you. That is so awesome.
And so I share this because, guys, like this, learning ads, and let's talk about this actually. What are your thoughts on someone learning ads, learning like what buttons to press versus hiring someone? And if they want to hire someone, when should they do it? Because I can share my journey, not yet, but I've gone through a whole journey with that as well. So what are your thoughts on someone? Let's say they're a coach. Let's just go, they're a coach. They're doing $50,000 to $100,000 a year in their business. They're wanting to start out on ads. Like, what's kind of the process in them? Should they learn how to click the buttons, or maybe some people shouldn't at all? And they should just go, there are some people who just shouldn't learn to click the buttons. I'm pretty close to one of those people. So talk to us about the journey.
Okay. Strong opinions incoming. So you guys can send me all the hate Instagrams you want with this, but I strongly feel, and this, by the way, has been backed up by every financial coach, every like bookkeeper in the online space. I'm like, how much should people be paying before they outsource their ads? And they will all agree with me that $5,000 per month or more is a really sweet spot to start considering it. Because here's why, you guys. And I am not going to say there's not diamonds in the rough, but most every good like agency advertising partner that I know right now that's doing a great job, and there's a lot of nuance in that statement, doing a great job. They're charging between $2,500 and $3,500 a month to start. And those budgets go up really, really quickly, depending on how much you're spending. Okay. So usually it's a base with like a percentage. Now, again, I'm not saying there's freelancers getting started, charging less, who are actually good, who've gone through trainings. I would always vet on what trainings have you gone through, because, oh man, we could go on and on and on. But I think that's really a good sweet spot. $5,000 to $10,000 a month is where you start considering outsourcing, because then it's going to start making sense to your bottom line. So what do you do before that? Well, I would recommend going through a training. And we have a training. There's lots of trainings. Like you need to get trained up on this because you push the wrong button, you waste $500 in a couple of weeks if you've got a small budget. You push the wrong button and you're spending more and you might waste $5,000. I mean, this stuff is really easy to waste a lot of money on. So many stats and things I could share, but I think this will illustrate it best. We had a member come through, her name is Karen, and she had paid $1,800 for between an ads agency and her ads budget. Yeah. And over the course of several weeks, 6 weeks, she got 2 leads. And that's kind of an expensive cost per lead when you think about it. 2 leads for this whole thing. They were running traffic ads. So there's like a little breadcrumb for people. Okay. So we come in, I said, Karen, this is going to delight and devastate you all at the same time. We duplicated that exact same campaign, did not touch anything except we changed it from traffic to conversion. We added a little bit of back-end tech. So we added the pixel to her website so it could track it and Facebook then could work hard for her. And I said, let me know, it felt like a doctor, like call me in a week and tell me how things are going. Well, 72 hours later, oh my gosh, this is like the devastating part, right? Like she's so like laughing, crying at the same time. She had 40 leads and had spent $60. And I was like, oh.
So she could have had about 1,400 leads.
I mean, imagine, right? But that was her expensive lesson. Okay, so here's the thing.
That's a great lesson. Like, what a cool lesson. I know that's not the lesson you want, but that's what I mean. It's like sometimes you have to pay a little bit of a lesson to actually get to that point.
Yeah. I mean, how many tens of thousands of dollars in lessons have we acquired at this point, right? But I think that, okay, so number one, you don't want to just go at this alone. Number two, ads agencies cost a bit. So you want to be mindful of adding that to your bottom line, right? And number three, the thing about Karen now is never again will she hire poorly. She didn't even know she was hiring poorly because she knows the buttons to push. She doesn't need to be an expert, but she's an expert on her account.
Yes.
And so now when she outsources, she says things, and she does outsource now. She says things like, tell me how you set up ads. What's your usual account structure like? And within like 2 or 3 days of someone taking over her ads, she knows if it's going to work out or not, versus flying blind 3 months in. You have no idea if they're doing a good job or not. They say they're doing a good job. So you're like, look at all this traffic we're getting you. And you're like, I'm just not seeing anything on the back end. So I could go down rabbit holes.
No. So this is actually the journey I went on. Because when I first started, I bought a course and I went through it and I learned how to set up an ad and I started running a PDF. It was called the Daily Output Booster. This was when I was
I love it.
And I was getting, it was like $1.20 a lead. I thought that was too expensive, but that was back in the day. Now I would have loved that.
Now you're like, I should have taken out a second mortgage.
Totally. What was good was by the time I hired an agency, it was a small freelancer who started running my ads. I knew what the ad structure was supposed to look like. And I'd learnt this from someone who really knew what they were talking about. Actually, I hired the person for an hour. I paid him like $1,000, which was a lot at the time. I paid him $1,000 for an hour. I said, can you teach me? I've done your course. Can you teach me? So I invested a bit and I learnt how to do my own ads. And then when I got to a point where I was, running, I don't think it was 5,000, but it was like basically $1,000 or was around, I think, a month. Then I started to outsource it, but I knew what was going on in the back end. And that is, I agree. That is when people get themselves in trouble, is when they have no idea what they're looking at. Actually, let me just say, I had a client say to me recently that she'd spent $500. She was promoting a webinar. She spent $500 and she had 3 leads.
Oh.
And I go, there's something drastically wrong with whoever's running your ads. So I swapped her out for one of our ads guys.
Yeah.
And I said, try the strategy he recommends. She ended up spending about $1,800 with him, and she got 1,200 leads into the webinar.
Yes.
Like, that's the difference. And you know what? The first guy was running traffic ads. The second guy was running conversion ads. So like, it's so true what you just said.
Okay, I'm just going to pop in a stat. Can I share one stat on that?
Please.
Okay, Facebook in the last stakeholders report, they reported only 30% of all advertising is conversion ads. And I was just like, that is where, you guys, that is where literally all the money is. That is where literally
Yeah.
all of the money is. Like, if you're wondering why ads are not working, it's probably because you have pushed the wrong button. You're not in the right stream of traffic. There's lots more I could say on this, but that's why and people are wasting, I mean, if you translate that, that is billions and tens of billions of dollars.
Yeah, you're not looking for clicks and views. You're looking for conversions.
Yeah.
And that's what, I mean, this is what I love about Facebook and Instagram is the control you have and the visibility. Now, let's talk visibility, actually, as I think about this, because there was a big update with Apple when they brought in was it the 14?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I remember everyone was trying to like all the kind of the marketing people were like, let's boycott 14, don't update it.
Yes.
We're like, let's avoid it. And I think we're up to 18 now. But I will say that when that happened, we lost a lot of visibility. How do we get visibility back? Are there any tools that you kind of use and recommend?
So many third-party tools to help you with this. Attribution, multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
When you guys get into really big online businesses, generally speaking, they might have a full-time team member on staff just to say, if I'm running Google ads, if I'm running Facebook ads got the click and the conversion. This is a huge industry for a reason. So attribution is that visibility piece that you're talking about.
Yes.
Like, what were the conversions and where did those conversions come from? And so when you're thinking about this, there's great tools. There's Hyros, which is a little more expensive. ClickMagick, we're seeing great results on. It's $100 a month.
Have you used Cometly?
What was that? Cometly, yes.
That's what we use.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
So many good third-party tools. I will say that with the modeling that Meta and all the other platforms have introduced, it's pretty darn good. It's back to being pretty decent.
I will say that because sometimes people can hear all these other tools and like, we pay $6,000 a year just to get clear attribution. But I feel like when you get started, you don't really need that, right? Like it's not, let's get started. Let's just get some ads running and just, build the pixel up.
Yeah. Well, and especially too, if you're running one channel, like you don't have Google and Pinterest ads and LinkedIn and blah, blah, blah. You're running like one simple channel, Facebook ads to a landing page. You're going to have, even if Facebook is over or under reporting and Facebook will say up to 25%, either way is perfectly normal, over, under. You're going to see on the back end, okay, well, Facebook says I got 7 leads. I actually got 10.
Yeah.
I can do the math on that really easily. I mean, it's pretty simple. As you get bigger, you will, when there are questions that you cannot answer any longer, you will know it's time to add to your tech stack. So there will be a point where you're like, just asking questions about your sales funnel that you cannot answer. That's perfect time.
And I think one simple fix with that, and I'm sure you teach this, but it's like just have a dedicated Facebook, Instagram funnel. So, if you're hosting a webinar, you have an organic funnel and you have an ads funnel. And you can you can have multiple funnels if you want to segment each type of audience, but that's all we do. Like, do you have any other suggestions? Do you have any other kind of fixes?
I have a little hack on that. When you create your own dedicated funnel, I've seen this so many times. If your account doesn't get shut down, you'll get a cease and desist from Facebook, from Meta. So make sure that you don't put in the link like Meta, Instagram, Insta, IG, Facebook, FB. If you're like terzerker.com/Facebook, that is a problem. Okay, that's a random, that's a little random trick.
That's big. I think we do that. I think.
Change that. Change
in
that.
The links sometimes, because I'm like, that's the FB funnel, that's the Instagram funnel. So take that out.
Change that. And you can ease that change in. You don't have to like, oh my gosh, we have to redo this immediately because you obviously haven't been shut down.
No.
But it's always a yet with Facebook. Ooh. And I am the most conservative advertiser on the planet because, well, you guys remember my reputation was built on rehabbing expensive and problematic accounts. I worked on so many accounts in this industry that you would be shocked that they got shut down, like shocked. And I had to rehab them. And it's like, that is hard work. So if I can, help people avoid those situations, that's my job. But inside of our community, I mean, many people join with ad problems. Like they've been shut down, they've been hacked, things like that, right? So we have to do a lot of work to help them.
Mm.
But that's kind of like, I'm always going to throw that stuff out there because my job is to keep your account safe and converting.
Love that. Now, one last question, and then we'll go to where people can go next for you and connect with you, all that sort of good stuff. Ad trends coming into 2025. What are some things that you feel like are hot right now, or that they could be focused on? I know that's very tactical, and it's only going to be for a short period of time, but I think that's always really cool to test and try and just to know.
Yes. Okay. Let me give a few big ones. So, number one, AI is all over in Ads Manager right now. So, be experimenting with those updates. And we've seen a few tests roll out on some accounts that we work on, have access to, or that we own, and they're really cool. They're really cool. So, there's
What does
AI
that look like? Give me some
okay.
examples.
A lot of us are seeing this if you're doing ads right now, the generative text, right? So, it's like you're putting in your copy, it's giving you like different variations that sometimes perform well. Right now, I would say our ChatGPT created copy still outperforms Meta's, but that's only a matter of time. Like by the time this publishes, that could be outdated. You know what I mean? So it's improving rapidly. Okay, so I've seen some beta tests roll out where it honestly takes a campaign and it takes full control over it. And it is, you tell it like the budget max, it's turning off audiences, it's increasing budget on certain, it's like crazy. So right now that particular feature I've seen only on a couple of accounts that being tested. It's really, really good in the beginning, not performing like long-term consistently.
Yeah.
But again, matter of time, like this stuff is rolling out and it's going to get better and better really, really quickly. For creative, you can upload your creative and let's just say you upload like your square imagery, right? Like your Instagram square, but your ad is running to, let's say, a stories placement. Facebook will generate what it believes should be. It will size your ad to the right, like vertical, and then it will generate like the top of the image and the bottom of the image. So now you can upload your creative.
So completely reshape the image and kind of like not just reshape, but recreate it in a sense.
Recreate it essentially. And even if you think about, this is more in the product space, so like e-com, but I mean, there's application here too. Like if you were to upload, let's say a shoe, okay, so you have an e-com store for a shoe, it will create different backgrounds for you. So all of these features are rolling out. So let's just say if you were to upload maybe a product shot of your course or like your mini training, Colin, for example, Facebook can create all these different backgrounds. So it's very cool, all these generative features. So AI taking over, very huge, big trend. I love watching these features roll out. I think that creative is the new targeting, as we say inside of one of my businesses. And I would just say that is where your focus should be. Don't create crappy AI stuff. Like really put attention and time into your creative. I mean, Colin, you teach so many formulas and frameworks. If somebody is thinking about producing, their own videos, and by the way, don't overproduce. Always keep these looking organic.
I shoot all of mine on just an iPhone.
Pull out your phone, exactly, and follow Colin's scripts because these are opportunities for you to get that hook, create that trust and rapport very quickly, and close it with a CTA. And I mean, you've got the resource here. So use all of Colin's amazing stuff for that, and then get creative with it. Have fun with it. Try being in different places, different locations. Like whip out your phone in unexpected places, and don't be surprised when that becomes your top performing creative.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like one of my top performers that has been going on for ages is the this versus that video of like most people are doing this, but you should be doing that. So for me, it's most people are telling their origin story. So you start with something that they already know, but they should be telling their conversion story. So it's like something unique. And the this versus that video has worked really well for us. That's been working for probably a year and a half. We haven't even changed that out. It just keeps running, right?
Okay, but great content will last a long time. Great content has long legs. So invest in great content.
Yeah, love that. Tara, for those people who want to connect with you, what's the best social platform, first of all, for you?
Yeah, if you've got any questions or anything I didn't answer, @Tara Zirker on Instagram is a great place to connect.
Yeah, on the Insta, Tara Zerker on that. And I know you've got a program, Successful Ads Accelerator, which essentially teaches coaches and course creators how to set up their own ads. Like you obviously teach people how to do it. Give us a 30-second kind of overview of that, and then we'll tell people where they can check it out and so forth.
Absolutely. It's a guided program, one-on-one coaching support as you go through kind of the learning phase. And so you're going to go through 6 20 to 40-minute lessons, and each of those is accompanied by a coaching session. So before you ever spend your first dollar, before you ever waste a penny on Facebook, you are going to make sure you are set up for success. So we're a little bit unique that way, and lots of backstory to how we arrived to that, but we have such incredible success because we don't let people spend money without immense guidance and making sure they are truly set up for success. So you go through a very quick program and have lots of ongoing support.
I love that. So like a really structured, because you really need that at the start, like a really structured process to get your confidence up and your clarity to start spending, get your kind of training wheels on, and then you're dangerous enough to actually grow the business, which is great. So if anyone wants to check that out, you can go to colinboyd.co/Tara, Tara, and you can go and check that out. There'll be a link in the show notes. So if you are a course creator, a coach, and you're wanting to learn Facebook, Instagram ads, and just actually get confident in that space, definitely go and check that out because Tara is the real deal. Like I don't bring her on just willy-nilly. I bring her on because she actually knows what she's talking about. So definitely go and check that out. Tara, it's been a pleasure having you on the Expert Edge. It's great having you in my life as a friend as well. And I'm just grateful that we get to do this journey together. Guys, thanks for listening to the Expert Edge. Tag Tara and myself in Instagrams. Send us a little screenshot. Let us know what's been most helpful, most useful. Send Tara a DM. Let her know what's been helpful. And we'll see you next week on the Expert Edge. Thanks, Tara.
Thanks so much, Colin.